I started out as a sociologist and then sort of gravitated to criminal matters or, issues that were described as deviant and marginal. A sort of interest in the harm that is created socially by institutions, transgressions and resistances, but also that our work as researchers, academics and artists makes a difference, has policy impact. So I think that, I would describe my work as theoretically engaged and is motivated by making an impact politically. Creating knowledge which has purpose, which is purposeful, and I guess that's how I would define praxis. As a sociologist, I was always really connected to the potential of art for understanding the social world, as well as impacting on the social world too, and challenging our way of seeing, challenging ideology and hegemony. Yeah. The journey in terms of my academic career begins with work on aesthetics and feminist aesthetics and the transformative potential of art and creativity. So, I wanted to know what it would be like if you brought sociologists together with artists and they collaborated. My first empirical research was ethnographic research with sex workers. And at that point, what I did was I shared my narratives with a performance artist, a wonderful performance artist called Sarah Giddens, and a sound artist. And she created a wonderful dance piece. And then after that, I sort of moved gently towards, working collaboratively, including artists when I was doing the interviews, and then working with them with the material, right through to my last two projects, which have been totally collaborative, from research, design, through to writing up, and doing the art leading the research rather than the social science ethnography leading the research. So putting the artist in situational authority in arts workshops, using walking arts practice. An example, in the arts workshops we ran with women asylum seekers. The artist I worked with started by, we had photographic books, textiles, material, objects dotted around, and she created a very sensory space. Women brought those materials in to say something about their home and what belonging feels, what belonging means to them. So rather than talking in a sort of cognitive way, dialogic way, which is really important, about what does home mean to you, asking women to bring in objects that said something about themselves, said something about their, where they were from, their home, what belonging means, looks like and feels. Yeah. We started off in this incredibly rich, so I think art brings the sort of sensory dimension. But also I think in terms of the knowledge it produces, I think certainly my experience has been that there's a very quick, it's a sort of rapid or fast way of connecting, attuning with someone, and getting a sense of their being in the world as well as their experience. What I'd like to do is continue this work around, this transition zones, transition spaces, and do some research that works with women but looks at those moments of transition in their lives. So women's mobile lives, using walking, and doing this Europe-wide, so taking it out into the bigger frame. So we get some of that comparative experience, and we can see things outside of the frame of the nation state, of course, and the borders of the nation state, and the way that, states react by pinning down their borders when their sovereignty is threatened. So those spaces between the statuses that they inhabit, I think it would be really great to do something about that, because that could really shine a light, through sort of micrology, through walking, through making art and film, and sort of digital work. But then also, using that to then throw lights on the broader structures. Migration, mobility is only going to increase given the current state of affairs internationally, globally. And so, I'd like to sort of push it further by going beyond the borders of the nation state, beyond the borders of the UK, and look at this across Europe, but look in those particular spaces, those particular moments when, when people are in the in-between. So I guess working at that hyphen, really drilling down into that hyphen and looking at those hyphenated places, the internal places, but also, so psychosocially, but also the physical material in-betweens, you know, when people are literally in between.